opposite way. I'm not that guy where I'm like, pay attention, I'm your guy. You know what I mean? I don't know what kind of tours you guys go on where your tour guides are yelling at you, but again, I can only assume. So welcome to a parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. I told you I'm taking you to weird spaces. This place used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion sat in the front where our one measly vehicle is, way in the front. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. All you communication device people, which is pretty much everybody here, except for Tom, because he doesn't want to participate with the spirit box.
He was distracted.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, from focusing on the thermal.
Well, and the stories.
Fair enough. I'll take that. Most people just turn it down.
Ghost.
But anyway, so this is the first place where I'm going to start withholding information. I am not going to be giving you questions like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. So kind of keep that in mind. You will get the answers from your spirit boxes. And they are weird questions I'll be throwing at you, so kind of keep that in mind. Anyway, who the hell were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew, well, by the way, that's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues, so I know which Charles is actually starting to come through in the event we have the name Charles that pops up. So, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about Eliza. If I don't bring up that signer of the Constitution bit, they do it for me very angrily, and I never try to piss off a Pinckney. Like, that's just never my goal. So, let's talk about Eliza. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say that because if you're going to ask her how old she was, don't expect numbers like 12 and 14 from the colonial days that she came from when girls got married. Think of today's standards because her husband was over double her age when they married. Kind of a creepy age gap in the 1700s, a creepy age gap now. So, and this is a true love story. There was never any kind of affair or any foul play with the marriage. So again, true love story here. But anyway, back to Eliza. She married her husband because her father was over in England and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home so he could see him one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she didn't make the trip and she stayed home, right where we're standing. It's 1744. She got married. You don't get married in that particular year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry Charles out of love, like I said, and she was also correct. Dad did not die right away, and instead, father from England is sending Eliza gifts from England to where we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been around town, at least for a few hours that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue, in case you were wondering what the hell this actually creates for us. But when she got the seeds, she didn't know what to do with it. She had to learn from her servants how to keep it cultivated. It's not coffee all the time.
Indigo instead of body flowers came on right when you said that. Oh, is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, I mean, did you hear that? I didn't know that you had an earbud.
Yeah,
Oh,
on the
okay.
thing. Is that what you want?
Yes, Tourette's,
Okay,
please.
so yeah.
All night long, Tourette's.
Yeah. So when you said that,
Now,
body flowers.
yep, keep going. I'm going to write it down for sure, especially because it was relevant to exactly what I was talking about at the time. But she had to learn how to keep it cultivated. She figured out how to make dye. She moved to a cash crop just south of here by the Stone River. Got a hold of her dad and said, you know what? Rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times, which is something absolutely unheard of. So, that's the boring business shit of Eliza. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to kind of go through each spirit box based on what type of spirit box it is, because they do a little bit things differently with each one. And I'm going to kind of give you a series of questions to focus on. What I'm also going to tell you is don't get disgruntled if you're not getting a direct answer. He might be asking a question, Alexis might get the answer. On your TV shows, they normally only show one spirit box with it on speaker, and they're waiting for something to happen. The beauty of the way I love to control all of this, I normally have 5 spirit boxes running when I have larger groups, and we never know where it's going to go. Somebody might be going rogue, not asking the same questions I am, but giving the answer somewhere else. It's wonderful. So focus questions for you specifically. Let's go after.
Chia.
So that's pretty easy to kind of go after. And she talks about it all the time. So how old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So 4 major questions we get about her death. So Aiden, with your spirit box, yours kind of gives off 1 to 2 syllable answers because it is so sporadic.
Okay.
And you will unmute it once we start separating, but the mansion's not here anymore. You can ask what happened to it and when did that happen. So again, obviously it's some kind of tragedy, so something happened to it. So once you get the what, we normally get 2 or 3 numbers of the date, of the when. So again, kind of keep that in mind, and those answers can go anywhere.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to stick you with numbers on that too, and kind of stick to the marriage questions as well, to kind of see if you can get like how old she was when she got married, or Charles, or how long they were married. So marriage questions and direct mansion questions, and we're going to obviously be very respectful while we're here, and hopefully not get electrocuted. Last but not least, the children. Please tread lightly. We're all going to know it's you if you poke the bear. I haven't checked the EMF detector yet, but I can almost tell you with the electricity in the air, I'm going to have to ramp up the baseline. You can ask about the kids, but very simple and basic. How many? What were their names? The reason why? There's a tragedy there. Don't poke the bear. So just be very respectful while we're here. Again, this is one of the few spaces where I'm going to say, guys, please speak respectfully. Again, I've had people where they come in and they're like, yo, Eliza, let's kind of do this kind of stuff. And that's just not the way you talk to a prominent English woman, especially if you want to get any kind of answers out of her. Quick explanation of the device I'm using, and of course it's on hold because it was in my back pocket. But the little blinky light guy that I showed you earlier only goes to 25 milligauss. If you were to put this behind your TV set, it goes to 40 to 60 milligauss, depending on how many devices you have plugged into the back of your TV. Your microwave running on high is about 150 to 170. The highest we've ever seen this device go, ever, in my 11 years of ghost hunting, has been here, 214 milligauss. It's like putting your head inside the microwave. You can see why, like, I want to make sure I have one of these at all times. I have epilepsy. Too much electricity in the air can trigger something. So I want to make sure if we're getting over 100, and I've already got a 10.8, so the average spike for this location, there's an 11.1, is between 18 to 22. That's 5 out of 7 nights a week. We will see a spike between 18 to 22 milligauss. That's half the emission from your TV sets. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much this thing is actually measuring. So I'm going to say the amount of cell lighting going on, so you can see our baseline should be at least 4 tonight. Normally it's at 2.5. That would say 4. It's already had it up to 11.1, 10.6, back. It's right along that number. But I say let's get spread out. Once we are already recording with the videos, Aiden, let's get you unmuted. And I'm gonna do 2 quick round robins in here and kind of see what you guys got going on with your stuff. I just write down flowers. But I don't think I have to explain everything else. This device is going further. I kind of made it nice and simple tonight. So yeah, let's spread out. Let's start asking some questions.
Wait, put us here, garden that way, mansion this way.
Does that matter to me?
Right. I'll go mansion that, because everybody else is going away. And you are recording, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shining bright.
Anyone here?
Camera. Camera on.
Is there anyone here?
The sign.
35.9? Okay.
You guys have the gist of how to listen to that guy, right?
Huh?
You guys
Yes.
have the gist of how to listen to it? Like you're
Yeah.
literally listening for the radio to talk to you?
Yeah. I asked if there was anyone here, and they said 35.9, so...
But that's also a yes-no question.
Well,
Try to reword it.
yes, let me think.
I mean, Eliza knows we're coming. Like, that's the thing.
Okay.
I'm here every night. So it's not like she doesn't know when we're here, what we're going to be asking. So I don't know what 35.9 means. I'm probably going to write it down just because it's a weird number. So we'll see what I can get out of it.
How are you doing tonight?
What?
Are you happy to see us?
Don't be creepy about it.
I don't know.
You're talking to a lady
She
here.
knows him. He's here every night. Are you happy? Are you happy to see him?
What if she isn't happy to see him? That's kind of.
That's what I'm asking.
You're in her house. You need to treat her like you're a guest in her house.
I'm not part of the house.
Don't say that.
Let's start with me. I'm trying.
That's a touchy subject. Be nice to her.
I hope I haven't offended you. It wasn't my intention.
You gotta say sorry.
I am sorry. You can ask questions too.
What's your favorite color?
I like purple.
I have quite a few favorite colors.
My favorite colors are green and purple.
Those are good colors.
Yeah. But it depends on the green. I like the green of my coat. Might be hard to see in the dark. I don't want to offend you. I keep thinking
Just ask
questions.
her get to know you questions.
Okay.
What's your favorite food? Do you have a favorite food?
Eliza, did you used to have an umbrella like this one, or was yours smaller?
She probably had a cooler umbrella.
Was your umbrella cooler?
I heard big.
Okay.
She had a big. See, I told you.
Did you use it more for rain, or did you use it for the sun? Okay. I don't usually use mine for the sun, but I feel like I should get a sun umbrella. Okay. It's good for your skin. I don't know if you that was a thing you guys knew about, but sun is pretty bad for your skin.
They knew about that.
I don't know if they knew to what extent.
They lived on years of knowledge.
Got anything coming out of it?
I asked her if she had an umbrella like mine, and we got I said, is it like maybe a little smaller? And then it said big, we thought. So
I can't prove that.
I mean, that's the trouble.
But it's a direct answer. That's why, like, when I give you guys like those probing questions, it's about things we can actually prove. You know, that kind of thing.
I was mainly just trying to.
But you're on the right track, because honestly, that is probably the most accurate spirit box I have.
Okay.
It's about 75% accurate.
Well, now I'm worried I'm wasting it.
Not necessarily. I mean, you're getting used to it. You've never done this before. So 75% of what comes out of there is relevant normally to either a question being asked or relevant to the space.
Okay.
So just kind of keep that in mind. Those two that they're using are about 50%. I have other ones that are all the way down to 20%. Just depends on what type it is. That is the most accurate one I have.
Okay. I won't let you down.
It's not about you letting me down, it's about the ghost letting us down.
Well,
Again, you can't control them.
Hey,
I trust you, Eliza.
don't listen. He was being mean to you with that statement, Eliza. We believe in you. We trust you. We love you. Honestly, I did love South Carolina history class. So.
Yeah, I remember that earthquake from history class.
My favorite part in the textbook was the swamp fox.
Yes, I love Swamp. Did you know anything about the story of Swamp Fox, Eliza? He was a great guy. Worked really hard. That's her. I hate to change topic on you. I'm not much of a conversationalist, but how many rooms did your house have? Like bedrooms? Mine's got 3, 4. Sure, not quite as big as yours.
Let's go over this way. Shining bright.
What kind of flowers used to grow here? Parking lot.
That's what I'm saying. She said, what?
Do you prefer horses or cars?
She didn't know what a car was.
Well, she can see them.
And she can see cars.
I think they're too loud.
I like horses. They're cute.
Horses are good.
It's loud. Oh, you know what? We didn't ask her what her favorite flower was.
What is your favorite flower?
Maybe we could give her a favorite flower sometime if she tells us.
I love flowers. I really like marigolds.
My favorite flower is hydrangea.
Hydrangea.
Mm-hmm.
And then sunflowers are good too, right?
Sunflowers are there too,
Yep.
because I named my dog after sunflowers.
I'm also big on carnations. I love
We need to
carnations.
ask for something that can be free.
Yes. Alright, sorry. There's a lot of flowers at weddings. When did you get married?
Yeah. We're planning on getting married sometime.
We are actually. We're really
We're in the process.
we're a little busy, but where'd you have your wedding? We're looking for venues. I didn't quite catch that. How old were you when you got married? Because I feel like I'm a little young.
You know, but the right time.
The right time is the right time.
When'd you get married, girl?
Anniversary
I
coming
mean,
up?
my lady. Can we switch?
Yeah.
Holding it like that is hurting my wrist.
Gotcha.
My hand. I have a sore wrist.
Could you tell us how many people were in your wedding party? How many bridesmaids did you have, maybe?
Ooh, what kind of dress did you wear?
Oh, yes. Was white in style yet, or did you have a nice color on your dress? You said warm? Yeah. Did you get married when it was warm, maybe? I think we'd like to get married when it's cool, right?
Yeah, I want to get married in October.
October would be
On
lovely.
Halloween.
I suppose October was a lot more busy back in the day.
Did you play an instrument?
Ooh, yes. I understand lots of ladies would have been learning something.
Yeah. Did you or anyone in your family play an instrument? I played the violin.
Very classy one. Oh,
I don't know how to turn this off.
button side. Other side. Look. There you go.
It's not recording.
Beep.
You're not late for focus time. You don't need to be.
Gotcha.
Oh, but anyway, so let's kind of get. Oh, this Eliza, the second one, married Charles and David, 22. Charles was 45. So kind of a big huge gap back then and now. The mansion. So these were Aiden's questions. This is the only photograph of the mansion that we actually have. So this is fire damage from the Great Fire of 1861. Every tour down here is going to tell you about a Great Fire. This one literally went from. So this one went from one side of the peninsula all the way to the other. This is a map of Charleston, as some of you already know because you live here. Okay, everybody here is at the point where where do you guys live at? Richmond, Virginia. So you guys are you're South Carolinians, we can say that much at least. You guys live here, so I'm like, wait, does everybody like come down here? But that's obviously one side to the other. This is about $5 to $9 million worth of damage. In the event we get the word fire, burning, blaze, anything relative to the fire, we will get 2 or 3 numbers out of the date. Like I said, this happened December 11th of 1861. So those numbers we look for are 12, 11, 61. Not very simple numbers like 1, 2, 3, are they? So we've had all 3 numbers show up along with the word fire the same evening. So take that for what it's worth. Now, children. So the children questions, this is where things got a little antsy why I yanked this away. There were 4 children, grand total. That's why I said if somebody asked something a little that she didn't want to talk about, she will answer 3. But I will also tell you that the tragedy of one of the children happened in June of 1747. We don't have an exact date. Now, let me go through them very quickly. The first one you already know about, Charles, signer of the Constitution, right? The next one is Thomas. So good luck. That's another reason why I kind of gave you guys the 2 questions. I wanted to see if there would be a connection. But Thomas fought in a Revolutionary War battle, shot in the left leg, and captured by the British. When he came out of that and they released him, he was left on a cane the rest of his days. We didn't get anything relative to Thomas directly, but you're going to see the cues and things that I look for when his name does show up. So left leg, battle, Camden, Revolutionary, getting the point. The next one is the tragedy. This is baby George. In June of 1747, he was born and died. We don't know if he was days old or if he was weeks old. So he was named, which means he wouldn't have named a child back then unless they were christened. So my guess is he is at least a few weeks old. But the birth and death records just have the same month and year. That's it. But he also doesn't have a headstone or a grave. Here's the weird theory that I have behind this, and this is my theory alone. Take it for what it's worth. They would have mummified him and kept him right here in the home in a tomb, waiting for his mother to pass away so he could be buried with her. It's not kind of a weird religious practice. Don't go home and Google mummy baby, by the way, and I'll expect a phone call from the government. It is just a religious practice. If somebody told me about that one night on the floor, I dove in. I did the whole thing back in the 1700s. Now, the last child, her name was Harriet, the only daughter. She married Daniel Horry. He's South Carolinians. Horry County is Myrtle Beach, right? So Myrtle Beach is 2.5 hours north of here. Wouldn't have been a 2.5-hour car ride for Eliza. There's no cars. So lots of letter writing when we hear from Harriet. So it's usually words like quill, ink, paper, published. Those kind of terms will pop up. Once or twice a year we get things from Harriet. Eliza's death. This is also where things get weird, especially with baby George. Now, Eliza died at the age of 70. You need to know that first off, that's a long time for a woman to be alive during colonial times. She died in 1793, so we'll commonly get the number 93 here, along with the number 70. But she was going to Philadelphia getting treatments for whatever they thought she had. It turned out to be breast cancer. We didn't know what the hell breast cancer was in 1793. We're going based off her medical records. She died in Philly. She's buried in Philly. Raising 2 questions in the back of your brains right now. First thing is baby George. If my theory is true, then we've transported him from here all the way up there by horse and carriage. That's a long trek, just to go be buried with mom. We can't prove it, but it's a great possibility. Now, the other question in the back of your brain is, if she's up there, what the hell are we doing down here? I don't take you to actual cemeteries. The reason why? I've been doing this a long time. It's minimal activity in a cemetery at best. I do this 7 nights a week. I need you guys to actually have paranormal experiences and not wait for something by a headstone, because people don't stare at their headstones when they're gone. They go to their mansions 400 miles away, which is exactly why we're standing in the middle of the parking lot dodging the people that are parked here. You guys are getting my point. Who wants to take a guess at who the president was that was the pallbearer at the funeral? I know some of you are asking. It's a good guess, but it's wrong, and I'm happy about it. Let me explain. Tom's like, nope, even worse. So, it was George Washington. At his own request, wanted to pay homage to Eliza based on her indigo to help get our country started. Here's why I'm excited. None of you could answer. I'm going to check the weather here in just a second. I see you all look straight up. When we got over here, I told you guys I'm not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. I did that on purpose, subliminally putting George Washington in the back of all of your brains, waiting to see who's going to give you George Washington out there. You all passed with a fail. Notice as I'm giving you all the answers, that's the only one I asked for back, and you guys failed miserably. So that's a good thing. I don't want you guys to be able to just repeat the things I'm already giving you. If you said George Washington, I would take your spirit boxes and you're not listening anymore. Because I don't want you guys just repeating everything I'm saying. That's why I withhold information on purpose. So, as we walk over to our next location, I think you could stop the recording on that. You are getting a little bit of something just to inherit a bunch of money. She's an attorney, helping her out with all of her new cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money and tells her to get rid of the doctor. He comes down here to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money, and the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay here, but somebody was walking by, seeing everything that was about to happen. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop there for a second because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. So you guys were getting RI all the time on those red spirit boxes, so they made a new device called the ANDREA. It's basically a digital Ouija board. I bought it specifically for this location. And we do get the letters RI on it. I've had it for about 6 months. We've had it at least 4 or 5 times, I can count, while I'm giving you this piece of history about Ralph. So it is on command. So take that. Anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy's going to try to kill you. He said, come with me to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from some friends of mine, and you'll be safe and good to go. The doctor took him up on the offer, and we became friends. The longer the doctor stays down here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point, that he wasn't after Amanda's cash. So, Amanda gets wind of this, she's moving down, they're going to get married, live happily ever after. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. So it's just one of those pieces. There is proof of this one, and hopefully you'll be able to find some of that from your spirit boxes tonight. I'll get into that in just a minute. But Ralph and the doctor go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's just the way the hierarchy works. The doctor gets better seats. They talk about these plays on the way home one night, and then they went to see Richard III. They're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought the new actress was great. Ralph didn't. Turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Dr. Ladd saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. Let's settle this. Somebody's going to die. Keep in mind this whole argument started over an actress. So the two of them came down, they took for 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happens. But Ralph has his one bullet, he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die, he drops to the ground. Ralph proves his point that he's still pissed off, he runs off, but Dr. Ladd's friends picked him up, carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786 after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember, A, he's a doctor, and it's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different than what we know of them now. So he probably just tried to bleed it out himself. Every ghost tour that comes down here will tell you, listen for the whistles. Beauty for you guys, well, we have at least 2 cameras running. You're not running. It's okay. We enter the space. My bad. And plus my voice recorder. So if the whistle's going to be there, it's going to be on a recording somewhere. So that's the beauty for you guys. Did you hear how quiet it is, by the way? It is always this quiet unless one of their air conditioners pops on. It's the only time we ever hear anything. We can't hear anything from East Bay Street in this book. I don't know why. It's the weirdest, most uncanny thing. Now, the cool thing is, with these spirit boxes, Dr. Ladd likes to give us little clues that he's here. We'll get a whistling part of the song, and the word doctor right after it. Just think of Guns N' Roses' Patience, moves like Jagger. You guys are getting the point. There's whistling parts of songs. We've also had the word whistle show up on different word generators and or regular spirit boxes. So it does show up all the time. All of the other clues that we get wrapped around this would be like 59. Obviously Brown would be part of his name. The name Joseph, it's kind of vague, but the word doctor, medicinal, anything dealing with a doctor would normally will pop up. Just so you guys have an inkling of thought of what you're looking for when we go into the next location. So the other part of this is, I can't take you all the way through here. If you're gonna like walk through here one day, because I mean you obviously work downtown, if you're gonna walk all the way through and use your voice recorder from your phone, just keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every night, especially since I got run out of here. So let me tell you how I got booted out of here, because that's actually the fun part of the story. So yeah, who was it? Who did it? I thought so. Somebody did it.
Sorry.
That's too obvious. So the alley didn't go all the way through this way. Because this is also shows you how I put all the clues together and how the timeline works on some of these spaces. There was a wall up here between us and Cumberland Street, about halfway through. The reason why is this is where they kept the livestock in the city of Charleston. So all the livestock was down here, and it was called Cow Alley. But that means the bricks on the other side are older than the ones we're standing on. Those bricks down there are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child at the end of this, along with some fingerprints wiped off to the side. When I first started doing this 4 years ago, I used to take my groups all the way through. And I would show them the handprint, just it's a piece of history. We all need to see it. So that's kind of how I felt about it. But I also treat that handprint the same way I do a grave. That kid's not there. That's the last place you're going to find him. So November 26th of 2020, my entire group is huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen with the tools I gave them. I know nothing's going to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along. It's also outside the beautiful mansion of the dining room window that we're standing right outside. Yeah, I was just trying to be respectful and not realizing I was out of bounds. We're still new at this. The new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. The next day, well, we moved on. So the next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because before I did this, I actually worked in higher management for Walmart for almost 20 years. You can see why I'll never work Thanksgiving ever again.
For real.
So the next day, I called my buddy up that I actually was learning from the whole tourism business, and I told him what happened, and he's laughing at me. He's like, dude, you can't go down that far. You can only go down halfway, or you got to reroute your group. So I decided I'm going to reroute the group and try to avoid everything. So I told my group that night, I don't believe in this next story because I've never had anything happen, and I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're talking pirates next. But anyway, before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating, the famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, okay, we'll see what happens. We get up there, I told them a little bit I did know about pirates in Charleston. Somebody else used the number 300. And I went, damn it, I don't know what it means, I'm going to write it down. I researched it. The next morning, going through it, we were there on November 28th, 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. That's when my shoulders shrugged and went, no, I don't want to do pirates. But here's what I'll tell you. Here's my problem with pirate lore. Pirate stories are based off of pirate lore. So I have a master's degree in creative writing. And I need facts. I need things that are concrete. I've read more damn books on pirates than I've ever wanted to in my entire life, trying to make sure everything we're going to be discussing is going to be legit. Do you have something going on over there?
I don't know if it was from him or what, but there was just flashes.
It's coming from his camera.
Okay.
The lens?
You two should never be pointed at.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep moving because I'm getting a shape on the lamppost. I'm getting a shape on the lamppost, but I think it's just because it's a bunch of lines, yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing I forgot to tell you. You two should never point because you can see the LiDAR technology from his camera, whereas the thermal cannot. So again, you're using light we can't see, so everybody's going to see like a bunch of little dots on everything later on. So
Turn
before
around.
we leave the space, the gate behind me. So this particular gate is there because remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this way. This was the shortcut in case there was a loser to the door to go to the cemetery on the other side of the wall. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to Queen Street, which you can all see how long this alley is, and double back to bring the dead body. And that's delaying them going to have a pint with the winner. So they made this little shortcut. The wrought iron was probably put here in the early 1900s, but the top of it you can actually see is actually part of the original wall. So this was probably created for that simple reason. I'm getting over to the cemetery very quickly. Before we leave, did we hear anything specific on these spirit boxes?
I was really listening too because there was one day where, I worked over there and I had to walk to Bank of America just to deposit my check, and I walked through that gate right there and then just walked the whole way down and up to the and I like that was something. I got like a little cold. This was like 7:30. Running from probably like that tree to the rest of the way to the street.
This is actually probably one of the most beautiful spaces we have in downtown. Yeah. So it comes all the way down to Queen. It's considered residential down there. There's wide tours around a lot of the area. Again, if you guys are going down that brick, it's about 14 bricks in from the edge and just left of the center of where we're standing now. It's pretty hard to miss, honestly, because it's a small handbrake brick. You know what I mean? So if you're looking down, you're going to find it. But
I turn it on.
Same button. There you go. Go kick up.
But it's not.
Did you mute? How many times did you press it? Come on. Press it again? Yeah, it has to kick up.
Sometimes. That's what I'm saying.
For real. So? There's a ghost in you. Nowhere?
It's a song.
Right, but I was listening. We're straddling. We're straddling. Straggling, I mean. Oh, those are just my legs.
There's a ghost in the whole thing.
What do you got?
1779. Well, we heard some like musical instruments.
Like, right when you were saying horns, I heard something
Yeah.
similar as well. Like,
Yeah.
like a French horn or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a brass instrument.
Right. Yes.
What did you guys get?
It said nowhere, but it was a pretty clear slice from a song, and then it said so.
I heard an Elvis song and that was about it.
Do we know what the Elvis song was, or the lyric that you heard? Or was it
I
just
don't.
like the music part of it?
It was just the music part of
Just
it.
the instrument?
It's like, gosh, I don't even know what the name of the song is.
He's only got so
whenever you
many.
guys give me numbers like 217, like I look at that as February 17th. Or February
That's my birthday.
1817, or you guys are getting my point. So normally, especially with the location that we're located in, this is why I keep track of where we are. I start like diving into those dates. Is there something relevant that they want me to know about, that they, kind of get the gist of it? So even with the dates that I normally give, or like birthdays and deaths and those things, like the date of a trial, like those are things that we've all gotten in the past. This is how I learn about this stuff. So when you guys give me weird numbers like February 17th or 217, I'm like, finally, something new that I don't know what the hell it means. That's where I get excited. This is me excited, by the way. I'm not that big. I'm sure I figured that out by now. By the way, I'm sure you guys have noticed like there's a lot of cool people here, which is exactly why I bring us to the back. And we're the weirdos. So if you guys were wondering where they were, look around.
Weirdos are always in the back.
Exactly. So,
Hi guys. How are you guys? Glad to be with you.
if the vocal should, be fine, but I took the backpack off, maybe take some of that pressure, because there is, half a backpack full of gear in there. Maybe that'll help with my headache a little bit. But I definitely want to make sure we're focused for these last two stops. We are here for the Powder Magazine, same as every other group. We're just looking at it in a different light. So the Gunpowder Magazine actually held gunpowder for 7 different wars, and those are not crosses on the building. So those are earthquake bolts. So earthquake bolts, if you don't know what those are, they're basically turnbuckles. Most tours around town will tell you what they are, but the reason why we're here is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. The reason why is because it's the oldest government building in South Carolina. Yeah. Now, with that being said, that's another part of the reason why we're here. Even though those earthquake bolts were put in long after its original construction, this building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start a new life. You guys will watch the TV shows where they use like a teddy bear to attract a child ghost kind of mentality. Same thing. This is what I call it familiar. We don't have many buildings this old. This is just something that Anne would recognize. And so that's the whole point of why we're here. So, by the way, the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government small building? 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you.
I'd call it 12.
Try to follow me on this one because there's a lot of little tiny pirate lady twists. So I will slow down on those twists. 1708, right in the middle of this construction, a young lady named Anne Cormack moves here from Ireland. She's with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was she that they had to get on a boat and come here? So there's no planes. I'm just pointing that out, so I don't want to treat you ladies right. But anyway, Dad bought a plantation in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. Mom died pretty quickly after getting here, so that means he has to send young Ann down to Charlestown to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. So hence the familiar building. Ann back home in Ireland was said to be a badass even back then. They say at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, remember that this is pirate lore and no number is ever going to be exact, unless it's been written down, that she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. I can't tell you how many nights we've had servant, knife, belly show up on 3 different spirit boxes, and none of them knew what the other 2 people were doing. So again, happens all the time. Anyway, back to the building. Finished in 1713, 2 more years go by. 1715, pirates are coming through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love, so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. First guy she falls in love with. I said first because there's a handful, and we're going to go through them. First guy is James Bonney. James Bonney is obviously, her new husband because Dad didn't approve and they ran away to Jamaica and got married. That's where the pirate name came from. Now, James is also not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy, a coward in her eyes. So, a few more years go by, she falls in love again. This is John Rackham. Guy number 2. They call him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who this guy actually is. Calico Jack has his own ship. Does anybody know why you can't put a female on a pirate ship?
It's all men.
Yeah, it's a
Think
I would say
simpler.
that they're going to sink, something like that. I forget.
It's bad luck.
Yeah, bad luck.
It's bad luck. Normally I ask that question right in the middle of this to make sure you guys are all awake because the pirate story's coming along. But anyway, it is bad luck, and I do get some really nasty answers out of that, by the way. I gotta stop giving that question out there.
Wow.
But he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, then you can be part of the ship. But you're gonna be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. So she gets it. It's a man's world. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. He drops her off in Cuba. We'll have the baby over here, come back later, we'll figure it out. Doesn't have the baby, but returns without a child. We have no idea what happens to this baby. This makes Jack pretty mad because when she comes back, she's also dressed like a female. She's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that he just captured that's beneath the deck. So she's going to go flirting with guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, just like a male, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. Her and this young lady, whose name was Mary Reed, became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure, but the British find out where they are. How does that sound? Servant. Nice. So there's our first part. The British send a fleet of ships to come take down one measly pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up with their 1 bullet flintlocks. Obviously, that's not going to work out very well against the whole fleet of ships with cannons. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up a lot here too, by the way. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. So Anne and Mary go in front, reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and he doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted out, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He delays the hanging, sends them both back to jail, but Dad is still up here with all of his Irish money in South Carolina. He bails her out, brings her back home. She remarries, husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending, because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed dies 5 months later in April of 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. So, use your imagination. Most books would tell you that it was something simple like fever. I'm going to say bullshit. Let's call it romantic scurvy. Why the hell not? We're talking pirates. A couple of things I left out of here on purpose. You guys all know how to ask questions at this point. I will be writing down the word servant just to see if anything else pops up. But I left out the few details of Anne Bonney's parents. So that's the father and the mistress. I didn't tell you what their names were specifically. That does come up here often. The name of Calico Jack's ship. So that's a very interesting piece when it does pop up. The city where Anne Bonney grew up in Ireland, and the color of her hair, which ironically is red, that you've already heard. That's why I said that's interesting. Maybe we're getting the bleed over. So again, it's a possibility. I want to see what else actually pops up around it. But again, it's vague, but it is there. But again, we will spread out in the space. Looks like there's only 2 cars in here, but there's another tour and one over here on the edge. We're going to be looking like the weirdos, filming everything and listening in. So I'll be bouncing around with all of you like I did back at the Pinkley Mansion site to see what we're getting out of it. I do have to write down red that we heard back there because I did forget about it until just now. And then the word servant.
I also think I heard lager when you were talking about Mary Reed.
Do you want to do this or that?
Show my red hair.
do this or
Like
that?
lager as in alcohol?
Like that's what
Okay,
that's
then
my
hold this one.
guess. We're talking about pirates.
Right. Well, they also had a lager that helped build ships.
Go ahead. I mean,
It's a possibility either way.
Maybe like on one redhead to another.
And that's a weird term to hear. on
Spill
current
it.
radio stations.
Bisexual
what,
to another.
what was she to you? Yeah.
It felt like two words that had blood together to make servant.
Huh. Okay.
I could be making that up in my own brain.
It could be.
I
I love how you're just like so excited to get everything up. You've been bouncing around all
Your
night.
mom's.
The last one.
Last one.
okay. Get mine.
Hey, let's walk near the powder mountain. Come on.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay.
Hey, girl.
Get asking.
Oh, your favorite artist. One of my favorite artists. Ring it?
Ringing. Okay.
Right.
This does make my arms turn.
I don't know what to say to her. I'm kind of nervous.
I'm kind of shy.
I'm kind of shy.
Monty has red hair too.
Was one of her husbands named James?
I already forgot.
Or partners?
Why don't you ask?
I don't know. Hey, how you doing? What's your favorite color? I don't know, you asked something.
Well, shoot.
Hey girl, let's just be straightforward. We need to know your parents' names, if that's cool. Can we know your dad's name?
$2010. 2010. Okay. His name was Tim, was it?
No, 2010.
Yeah, maybe 2010.
2010.
I know, but maybe it's because it was the closest thing. She's got to work with what she got.
7.
7. Okay.
2010, 7. It sounded like a Frozen song.
Did.
2010 and 7.
That's just plants.
Poker Face is playing.
Poker Face is playing. Interesting. Okay.
That's the only song. That's the only song I recognized.
2010 Poker Face. But she's not really answering.
No, Poker Face isn't gonna be a clue.
I know,
I'm just saying,
but it's
I
interesting.
recognize this song.
She holds it.
Maybe she likes Lady Gaga.
Did you play a lot of cards in the ship? Right? Let's go over here. What country were you from?
Well, I mean, you gotta know their name before you. What's your name? Give us your name. Please.
Come on. Almost. Almost sounded like Anna.
Can you give me the first letter to your name, maybe?
Hotel?
I heard Ralph. Can I know your last name, maybe? Do you have an alias you go by, maybe? Where are you from?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of signs. Fuck me.
So you guys sound like an old pirate walking around with that thing.
We're getting in character.
Sorry.
So what do you got coming out of there? Anything?
It said 2010
And 7.
and 7. And then
Seven.
Poker Face played.
7.
0.7 is a common number that we get here.
Okay.
I'll talk about that before we leave the space. I want to see what else comes up around it to kind of verify it.
What was it we asked when you said 2010? It was, what's your father? What did we ask when we said 2010? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay. We asked something and then it said 2010 and then 7 right after that.
I just remember asking what's your father's name and it started playing Poker Face by Lady Gaga.
It did. Yeah, it did. My camera says there's a ghost in you. Ah!
It's a ghost inside of you.
There's a ghost in me, too.
What color was your favorite outfit?
Ooh.
Did you wear a hat?
Are you still wearing a hat? That's a yes or no question. Damn. What kind of hat did you wear, if you wore one?
What's the name of your children? Georgie?
Georgie, okay.
George something?
Okay. Common enough name back then.
Knowledge.
Knowledge, okay.
I heard Georgie soon. What's the name of your mom? How about the name of your dad? What's your last name? Did your ship have a name if you were a pirate?
Wait, what was Calico Jack's ship? That loser.
Hey,
Who's the privateer?
No, Calico Jack wasn't the privateer.
Oh, no, you're right. Sorry.
He was the one that she called a dog.
No, Calico Jack was cool. Okay, sorry. I'm not very smart.
I mean, I don't really think she liked him because he didn't fight back.
I mean, yeah, she did, like, get a new guy. Not that I'm blaming you. Because dime a dozen, really. I guess your dimes are better than ours.
Yeah, what is the name of Calico Jack's ship?
I don't know.
Coming out of there?
We asked for the name of the kid. It said George or Georgie. That was about it.
Can't prove the children's names. That's the only problem.
Okay, yeah. Otherwise, it's a lot of, like, just vocalization, pretty much.
Well, the fact that you got an answer, a direct answer of, like, a name, you know, still stands for something. But I will also tell you that Charles Pinckney, Eliza's husband, is buried across the street.
Right.
And we're already dealing with the 3 answer of she doesn't want to talk about the children,
Right.
kind of thing. And we did talk about baby George in the month of June. Kind of, it is a vague stretch, but again, I still have to look at this as you asked for a name, you got a name. I just can't prove that the name is correct.
Right. Also, George is pretty common in that day.
Especially
Yeah.
in that day. Any other major things coming up out of there? Anything coming up on the camera that you were able to see?
Nothing. I saw stuff pop up and then I looked and it was because it was looking between those signs, or it caught that tree's shape as arms, or of course
I heard
these are
Old Testament.
Old Testament. Okay.
Yeah, you're near the church. We do get a lot of religious things. It's actually the first one we've had tonight.
But also it catches the braces as person shaped. So
I forgot to warn you. So this headache really has gotten me forgetting a lot of these extra little nuances. But that wall is not your friend. Leaves are all in front of each other.
I was about to say, I'm starting to notice, because I meant to ask you how this thing works, but I'm starting to imagine how it gets its information with how it latches on to stuff. So I'm starting to see patterns of where it's catching stuff.
But even when you watch,
'Cause, hey, look, there's a
Andrea's
person
video, like you'll be
right
able
there.
to see
Yeah.
like how the LiDAR works. Because you can see, like you'll see the dots on us because we're always in front of something else. Because we're a 3D object. So you'll see like all the dots that make you up. But there'll be the dots, the rest of them are in the back. It also picks up on shadows. So shadows, because it's an absence of light, it thinks there's something there.
Yeah, it was giving me a person right there. Right. With a lot of busy
So
stuff.
I'm saying our shadows on the wall, it would probably pick those up. If we had enough light there. So I would turn it this way.
Like this way?
Yep. And it should pick us up.
Not quite.
No?
No. Yeah, well.
Yep. And we had something else popped up relative to him as well. So there's your confirmation for your 7.
Oh, no, it's you. Let's get the cone back there.
So we got the number 7 that popped up over here. So that's, we get the number 7 here all the time. Did we get anything else coming out of yours?
No. I mean,
That you know of?
no.
Okay.
Nothing.
Again, I'm
stood
still
out.
withholding information.
Yeah.
So always
Nothing stood
withholding. So that's the beauty of what I do. Is you guys are like, no, I don't think I have anything, and then I go through the recording. I'm like, oh man, they missed a bunch. You know, and I'm like that kind of thing. But you didn't know all that background. So the number 7 is relevant to the doctor. We normally get double 7s here because his birthday is July 7th. So we normally will get the double 7s between over there and over here.
September 2nd, I got. Is that what I said?
That's a very specific date, isn't it?
Yeah.
Holy cow. We're not in the month of September. That's what is blowing my mind. So that's just a weird thing. So
Yes.
I don't know who that's relevant to, but I'm going to find
Right?
out. That's very weird. September 2nd. So the number 7, and then we did have the word doctor to show up. But the number 7 shows up here for a number of reasons. Double 7s is definitely relative to the doctor, but we do have John Calhoun buried on the other side of the wall. He's our 7th vice president. The Powder magazine served in 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So the number 7, it just depends on where that extra clue comes from, so I know like what it's actually relative to. That kind of makes sense. But those are really the only things that I was excited about. Nobody found anything specific on a camera. I will tell you that the biggest orb I've ever caught in my 11 years of doing this has been standing right here, came right towards me. I didn't see it in real time. It stopped about a foot away, twisted, and then moved up and disappeared in frame. So crazy stuff. Yeah. Again, be able to analyze this stuff when you can go frame by frame by frame instead of just getting a photograph and saying, we have an orb. You don't know that you have an orb because you can't see the motion of it. I'm always about the motion of it. So let's go over the quick answers of Anne Bonny, and I'll actually explain how the next location is going to work. It's not the way we've been working. It's a lot different. So 2 of you are going to be very much in the dark of what's going on with that space. But back to Anne Bonny. This is one of the few spaces or few pictures you can find of her with a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. So, again, if she was dressed like a male pirate, again, they don't know. So she would bare her breast, and now they know. The names of her parents, William Cormac, Mary Brennan. Mary Brennan was a servant for the Cormac family, by the way. So that's a whole nother 30-minute scandal that we're not going to get into. This is not relevant to our ghost hunt. I just like to give you, like, there's a lot that goes into this. But William and Mary normally show up as one phrase from a spirit box. So, say Andrea or Alexis would have come up to me and said, well, their name's William and Mary, or Mary and William, and it always comes from one person. You know what I mean? It's very uncanny how that actually occurs. Calico Jack, I always like to show you what he looked like as well, because everybody wants to see what they base Johnny Depp off of. So, this is Calico Jack. He was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from British captains that he killed. So, his father was a tailor, which means textiles are very important to him. Calico Jack basically translates to fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. I don't expect the 2 red spirit boxes to give us the word Kingston coming from our Charleston radio stations. I would expect it out of Zoe's device, simply because it picks up more disembodied voices than, say, the other 2. The word king would actually suffice as a direct answer if, one of you were asking it and that's where the answer was going. Also, the word generator that I use also has the word king that has popped up for us at that question request as well. So again, this is where we have to mix our tech with what are they actually able to answer us? What color is a big red barn? Blood. They're answering with what they can. Kingston is not going to be something we actually get all the time. The name of the city where Anne grew up is Cork, Ireland, like you cork a bottle kind of mentality. And then obviously the hair color was red, which Andrea heard back over at the other alleyway. This space, by the way, is one of the reasons why I give that heated warning at the top of the tour. About a year and a half ago, this past September, not this past September, the September before that, I'll have to look at the date to see if that was it. But I took my group to the back. I had about 10 people, maybe 9, and the kid next to me literally goes white as a ghost. Like, it's September. It's not even this hot. So there's no reason he's overdressed. He starts to faint. I have to pick him up by his armpit so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him, and we brought him over here so that way he could feel better. We got him a bottle of water, and I then told them the story of Anne Bonny that I told you. This used to be the last stop. We still have one more to go. But I spread everybody out, go have fun. These 2 guys pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed like males on the tour, just like Anne and Mary in the store. This is the weird shit that I see that I'm like, I have no idea how that occurred, why it occurred. It's just one of those pieces where I have to pay attention. Like, that's why headaches are so important. A psychic or a medium on the tour that doesn't tell me doesn't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. Like, they're usually on a gurney on the way to the emergency room telling me that they're a psychic. That's the first time that they told me anything. I do everything I can to not give them a spirit box because it's 2 different types of messaging. So I just make sure everything that we talk about, like from the very start, is where I get a really good gist of like, where are we coming from? Like, what's the base level? Like, some people are like, I'm a little sensitive, or I'm a practicing Wiccan. Those kinds of things I need to know. Because again, certain messages start to come through to certain people. Those spirit boxes are just too much. It's mixing in with what they're already getting. So again, I do everything I can to get you to know you guys ahead of time without letting you know what I'm doing. That kind of makes sense. So that way I know which device needs to go to which person. The next location is very interesting. I actually added the Estes method into this. Do you guys know what that is? So the Estes method is basically we're going to take Alexis and Andrea, they have the 2 spirit boxes that use it, and we're going to blindfold you and put noise canceling headphones. Okay, and then husbands, you're going to have to help out with these. Sorry, I'm putting you guys to work too. So.
Finding all the spots you can stick it in.
Excellent. That's okay. That happens every night. See why I don't like ANDREA blindfolded? There you go. Now you got it. You're good.
They're just like the ones you get at the race.
He's getting lines.
It's an umbrella. Balls are rated. We know something's
Interesting.
Let's get it nice and tight, everyone. Not hard at all. Let's just go and turn up the volume if you can hear me. Alexis, can you hear me?
Spider. Snake.
Good test, I like that. I don't think anybody's ever tried that.
I was gonna say, look out behind you.
We would like for you to come through. These two young ladies can hear you sitting on the bench. You know how this works.
20 points.
And tap her on the shoulder for me. You got me. Try to keep it into a whisper. Henry Timrod, I need you to come through and tell us what your occupation is, please.
Security?
It's not security. What is your occupation? What is your duty for a living? How does it make you?
They're probably gonna die.
We're not getting into that quite yet. I'm wondering.
Where?
Henry, tell us what your occupation was.
See?
Let's get into some of the family members. Tell us.
God, it's back home.
Tell us when your wife passed away. I know you and Katie had a very strong marriage. Can you tell us what her maiden name was, please? What was her name before she took your name? She was only 16 years old. I take it. Big. It's there.
Montreal.
Can you tell me what your job was at the time when you met these?
Too hard staying, Jesus. 1-0. Church music. These are uncharted territories of the presidency. There's a God.
It's a good one. And Babylon connection.
Babylonian thing was kind of funny. Specified detail.
Many people.
until I took it off.
No, I had any like weird breathing. You know, we literally had one of you that was talking nonstop, and then we were like pulling teeth trying to get in on you. So it's literally like, what I mean, normally I have like two people sitting here in the same style, like two people literally talking over each other, or two people that are saying much at all. So we literally have one piece, which is kind of a treat. However, I only have like one, two very, very, very vague answers where I'm not going to say like, oh my god, that was paranormal. It's very much a like coincidental piece that it could have been there. But again, we don't know what's going to actually come out of the recording. So unless it's at the top of your device, which right next to the volume, there's a little button. Always just slide it to the opposite direction. And just shut it off. Perfect. The reason why I do that is so I know that the last 10 to 12 minutes of her recording are from this session, and you guys will get a separated piece of notes that come up out of it. So
There's a lot of music that comes in on my side.
and that's perfectly fine. I mean, first off, you've never done this before, even listening to the Spirit Box. But imagine if I were to go, you know, Tom didn't listen to the Spirit Box at all.
You were singing Queen, and then like a minute later, she said something like that. You were singing "We Will Rock You."
Yeah,
It was an interesting. Like,
I
this
was
is always
trying to say everything I heard that wasn't static.
and that's what we should do. Yeah, it's never like wait for something to happen. That's why I don't, pull you in on this. So am I going to call this a successful session? I am not. I basically have three. I have like it wasn't successful. It was slightly successful. Meaning we had one or two things that were definitive, but not really enough to say tangible. And then it was a, oh my God, we had 10 to 20 questions answered that were direct answers, which I've seen when it's, believe it or not. That's where I get excited. But like, if you're trying to go wrong from the start, I can ask pretty much whatever I want. And I get the answer. I've seen we've had it two or three times.
You were asking questions.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
We're not just waiting for like something relevant to happen. We want a direct answer to what I'm asking. Like I want an interaction. So that's kind of how this. And you guys are going to see that on the video. You're also not going to know the history. So you guys get to get back to what you were. Yeah, I'm a jerk like that. So now they get to tell you like what everything was said was verified. That it wasn't successful. But at the same time, with all of this, like you're going to get a lot of this back. We don't know what we're trying to talk about. It's just we can get it. Overall, I'm going to say like this was a pretty light night. I think the most exciting thing was like that's 21 point something as far as the reasons go. The EMF, the Spirit Box, we do have three names that were heard along the way, by the way. One of those names along the way here from the SP11 was something that was said from an Estes session last week. So the name Emma. So I just found it very interesting that they heard the name Emma. And I just had it here last week. I don't know who that is, but they had Emma, Susie, and Louise. So
Louise twice.
Louise twice.
Yes.
So, and again, just an interesting night overall. I just didn't really know how this is going to go with the lightning in the air and KMX keeping track of it and whatnot. But again, hopefully you guys seen it. Ghost hunting is not black and white. It's not always reading between the lines either, but you do want some tangible pieces of research, which you got to teach. So, anything crazy on the camera since you were spinning around in circles?
No, I got a bunch of repeats there, and there that I figured out were trees, probably, because they kept happening in the same spot. Or a ghost that was really still and tree-shaped.
I
But
will tell you the reason why we have that particular camera is because somebody brought one of those big chunky ones